Let's go now to our correspondent in Jerusalem, Irris Makler, standing by. Irris, tell us more then about this visit.
Well, it is a first. There hasn't been an official Emirati visit. So there was, as you heard, the American delegation. But the glittering prizes were the Emirati politicians, the UAE Treasury Secretary and Economics Minister. They signed a number of agreements. The visa waiver, that's very significant. Both Emiratis and Israelis can travel without visas, one to the other's country. And, you know, Israel hasn't got that with either Egypt or Jordan, any other Arab country that it signed a peace deal with. There were financial deals signed, including science and tech, aviation, and they're also setting up a trilateral fund, $3 billion for regional development and cooperation, infrastructure and so forth, and that's funded by America, Israel and the UAE, to be based in Jerusalem. The Abraham Fund, it will be called. It's interesting. It was a very short meeting, only 5 hours, and that's because of COVID restrictions. The visitors didn't leave the airport, and Israel's Prime Minister invited them back when restrictions will be lifted.
Irris, this visit came a day after the US decided to remove Sudan from its list of state sponsors of terrorism. Is there a connection?
There is a connection in that what we are seeing is part of an American push to have more countries recognising, normalising their relations with Israel. I think Donald Trump definitely wants a foreign policy win, because what I'm about to tell you is not something theoretical, airy-fairy. We've heard from both Sudanese and American officials that all of this is going to happen within the next week, and that we're going to have an announcement before the American elections. So this paves the way. This deal that was signed yesterday, this agreement that was signed yesterday, paves the way for Sudan to recognise the state of Israel and to normalise relations with it. And I think that's all it's all emanating from Washington. There was pressure on Sudan to do it. They have finally agreed because it's a package that suits them as well. And I think we're going to see it, I believe, within the next 2 weeks.